Hello traders, John at StockBookie.com. Today we're going to look at the SPY, the IWM, the Qs, the DIA, the IYT, the USO, the UUP, and the GLD. We follow the daily, weekly, monthly timeframes. We use technical analysis here at StockBookie.com. So today, intraday action. Let's see, let's go to the 10-minute chart. Nothing crazy like it has been, but we had a little bit of follow through like we talked about. Popped it up into this trend line. Got above it, little bit of bullish consolidation, came in, little bearish inside bar, pulled back, tried to make another run, never could get back above this 227.12 area. Made a little bit of a tail, came right back and closed. I'm surprised we closed below the 2275 on the S&P, but we did. So if you did have a bear call spread, you did make the money on that trade. So let's go back into the daily. But daily chart, guys, nothing wrong. Still above the MAs. We had 62 million on the day, so another light volume day. And they're just killing the puts right now. I've been telling everyone who's been following me, do not buy puts right now in these markets, for they are just going to take your money. So let's keep this thing. Let's keep a watch on this. You have a slight bullish pattern here above the MAs. Let's see if this thing plays out. Maybe, maybe not. Next week, let's watch for more volume and take it from there. Let's go to the weekly. Weekly chart again, nothing wrong. I have a ton of stuff up here, guys, so you can't really see too much. But again, we closed right here, but right below that little trend line there. But it's consolidating for 5 weeks now. We talked about it right on this candle, If we consolidate for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks, then maybe some higher prices. If you're bullish, you got to get above these lines here, the 230 area. This trend line's going up here, and that's the one going back into April. So that's a big one. You got to get above these trend lines. Huge resistance up here, as well as great support down here. So we just go sideways like we did, here? I mean, look what that, it just sits, and comes in, comes up, comes down, then it goes up, dip, we're right back up. I'm expecting another dip right into this line, 50 MA. We'll see where we go. Right now, nothing wrong. Let's go to the IWM. IWM, again, nothing wrong with this one. Weekly chart. Let's go to the daily real quick, and then we'll look at the weekly. Daily, same thing, back above the 20 MA, but it keeps going up, down, up, down. We need to get above this trend line and above this one here ultimately, and then shoot for the 140 level. If you're bullish, you need to get above these pivots, above the all-time high right here, which is 138.82, and then shoot for the 140. But like I said, you still have this trend line up here above the all-time high, and that's just connecting these lows. Where do we go back? Those guys here, back from 2014. Boom, boom. Pretty good trend line there. If we get above there, then I want to see confirmation and then possibly some higher prices. We did have light volume again. Volume's just disappearing, guys. We didn't have it bad yesterday. They sold it off. See how the volume comes up and they're selling it off. As long as we hold this trend line here, 134.48, then we'll be okay there. So right now, above all the MAs like normal, and nothing wrong in my book at least. This though, little inside bar here, still bullish above the MAs, but this is slightly bearish, more macro bull, micro bear, trying to get above this trend line. If it does, we need to get above the 140, and I want to see more volume. This week it wasn't bad, but again, just wasn't good. These are markets where we just sit, and all of a sudden, boom, we go down for maybe a day or two, and then boom, go straight back up. So that's what I'm pretty much playing here, guys. As the months went by, October, November, December, I've been adding shorts and just wait for that one big pullback. We'll cover it. Going long, maybe. I mean, there's still a trend line. You could say a trend line up here too. A couple more things, but right now, nothing wrong with the markets other than light volume holding this thing up. Now, the Qs, on the other hand, boom, straight back above this line. We did close above here. Now I'm looking for higher prices on the Q, possibly going into earnings. Remember, Google and all the big boys are coming up. Does this make this one shoot up a little bit and then maybe crap out? So we're going to keep an eye on this. If the big tech names don't have good earnings, then expect lower prices, of course, on the Qs. That only makes, perfect sense. Daily chart, same thing. Kind of came up. Remember, we pulled back yesterday to the trend line, popped right back up. We closed at the all-time high. It didn't close at the all-time high, but it closed at a new high today. So nothing wrong with this. Above the moving averages. If you're long this, please tighten your stop. If you're getting lit, we're not going to make a 20% run right now. I'd expect the pullback first and then maybe higher prices. But right now, please don't chase this thing up. Let it come in, let it pull back, and then buy if you want to go long the Qs or the NASDAQ if you want to do that. Weekly chart, like we talked about, we did close above that line, so it's slightly stronger, but the only problem is we're moving up on no volume. I want to see a green candle like this one to show me that, okay, we are moving up now on some conviction volume. This volume doesn't mean anything to me, to be quite honest with you. The DIA, if I could get it in there right, DIA, same thing, weekly. Can't get above that 200 level, which is Dow 20,000. I still think we'll peg it just so these guys can, cheer and tell everybody, hurry up, get on board. This is going to be great. We're making another 100-point move, da, 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 da. And then next thing you know, we pull back. Do not buy at the highs here. Please, if you're long, tighten the stops. You don't want to wake up one day and this thing's getting pounded. So that's how it usually works. Daily chart. Come on. Daily chart, same thing. Good bullish pattern. We're trying to hold above. We pretty much closed right on top of the 20 MA. Nothing wrong above all the other moving averages. This 50 MA is curling up in the price. Let's see if that takes it higher, or do we start coming in? We do have a slight inside bar bearish pattern here, but it is still macro bull, micro bear. So beware of that. If you're long on the DIA or the Dow Jones Industrial Average, just tighten the stops. You just don't want to wake up when we get 4 huge days down and some country's blowing up or doing something stupid. So that's how it usually happens, guys. IYT up 98 cents. We did claw our way back above the 50 MA, so this one's getting to be an okay stance. We are consolidating now in a bullish manner, so let's see if this thing can pop up. We did have a nice move off this bullish pattern down here. So how much more does it have left in it? I'm not quite sure. Needs to get above the 167.79 area if you're bullish, and then shoot for the all-time high. And if it does get through that and confirm, I'm thinking 175, 176, maybe higher. We'll have to see how these markets play out with Trump coming in and all that good stuff. He's the wild card, guys, in these markets. But right now, we're above the 20 MA. Everything's fine and dandy. And I had a nice pullback, too. Let's see on the, even on the weekly, we got back above into this green inside bar here. And nothing wrong. A little bit of a pullback. Let's see if we make a launch. But if this thing keeps going sideways here, then I would expect some lower prices. So next week, we'll see what this gives us. If it starts coming back and get above the all-time high, 167.79, or the old all-time high, then possibly we're going to make a run for the double top here, and then we'll take a look from there. Light volume markets, guys, anything's possible, unfortunately. I mean, you see the action in the SPY and all that stuff, up, down, up, down. You got Tesla making a run. You got Netflix at the all-time highs. On light volume, guys, stocks can be moved any way they want it because there's no conviction in the markets either way, up or down. So they can make stocks go down. They, the institutional money, the hedge funds, the central bankers, whoever's trying to make money out there, and whoever has enough to move these stocks, that's who's doing it. I mean, you got moves. Netflix up almost $5 today. For what? Did they get an upgrade or something like that? I don't know. It's at all-time highs. It's almost like Nvidia just keeps going and going and going. Give me a market where it's dumping out. That's not going anywhere. While the market's sitting complacent, stocks will do whatever they want. Bottom line. So just be careful in these markets, guys, if you're trying to play options and specific strike prices to make money, because they will manipulate and close it right above it to screw you. All right, let's get into the USO. USO, again, back pop goes the weasel, back above. This thing's just choking around here. Nothing wrong. You're back below the 20 MA, so that's a little bit bearish, but you're still above this trend line and you're still above the moving averages. Let's see if we just kind of chop around on the 250 retrace, set up with a bearish pattern and go down. Or do we get back above the 50 MA and make a run for the $12 area? If we do that, then I think we're going back to about the 1246 area up in here. If you're going down, you need to get past the trend line and these moving averages, then you'll probably come back down to maybe gap fill around $10 here. So either way, it's kind of a 50-50 shot. I am short the USO right now, so of course I want it to go down. But right now, guys, nothing wrong. Weekly chart. Weekly chart, again, we're still above the MAs here, closed on the weekly. We did close right on the 250 retrace, but nothing wrong. A little bit bullish consolidation, MAs curling up. If that fails, guys, then I think we're going to go right to this trend line and it's going to go right down. So bullish, you want to get above this pivot right around 12. It's around 1247, I think it was. And then you have a gap fill right here. right around 1250, so it's got to get up there. And if it does keep running, we honestly could get up to maybe this pivot around 1623. But if this thing fails, I mean, you got a big bear pattern here, you know, and even if you go to the monthly, this is what I'm following as well. You know, the monthly chart, let's see. I mean, of course, we got to wait for the monthly close, but you know, we haven't talked about this in a while. This is down sideways. This is bearish action, guys. We did get above this inside bar, but it never confirmed on the monthly. We, of course, got to wait until the end of the month. We have a couple more weeks, but this 20 MA curling down, this is just bearish action down here. I'm thinking we still go down. When the market's dumped, we're definitely going to hit this double bottom again, and we'll probably go lower. I have about a 650 target on the USO. That's me, but that's if the markets fall apart and everything follows. So just beware, guys. We're in that time frame where anything is possible. Upside minimum, downside maximum in my book. All right, let's go UUP. The UUP down 3 cents today, but on the monthly, I mean, we had a nice little pullback. It went try to recapture the 2650 area and boom, rejected it right back down. Nothing wrong though, still above the MAs. That's the monthly chart, bigger time frame. Let's go to the daily. Daily, again, we're holding the 50 MA, slightly bullish pattern. We are back below the 20, so you have to respect that, but you are above the 20 and the 50 and still inside this bar. If we crack the 2612 area and come down here, fill this gap, then I'd probably expect lower prices to come. Maybe this gap be filled here around 25.59. Then you got to watch for that. If you're bullish, you need to pop back above the 20 MA, get above this all-time high, 26.82. Then I think we could go to 27.20. Then ultimately you have a double top here around 29 bucks. But once it hits 29, 29.50, if it does go up, you're going to have some big resistance up in this area as well. If you want to cold short this dollar, that's the area to do it. I'd try to wait for this 29, maybe even 30 area. We'll see if it overshoots. But right now, nothing wrong. Little bit of a pullback like it's been doing. So let this thing play out. There's really no pattern other than a nice little pullback on the daily. Let's see if we could get back above the 20, or do we actually come back in, close below the 50, hit the 382, and then possibly go for the 50 retrace and gap fill. You still have a gap window around 25.82 as well. So, excuse me, be aware of that. Weekly chart. Again, nothing wrong. Inside bar, bullish pattern. So let's see if we can hold this area here and possibly pop up. Or do we crack below the, I want to say 2607? If we go below that, then we're probably definitely going to come down here and fill this gap. And then maybe the bounce. But again, no real pattern here other than you're inside this green bar. And as long as you're inside this bar and holding it, you're okay. You'll possibly end up going up. But again, up, sideways. We talked about this popping up a little too early. I didn't like it. And pretty much pulled right back in. But now it's holding it. Let's see if it holds it and pops right back up. That's the UUP. And the GLD. GLD was up again, 30 cents. You know, if you're long, tighten the stop up a little bit here, you know, just in case. We did close above the 50 MA, so I can respect that. Let's see if we go sideways here and actually attempt to make another move up. You're still fighting this gap window. You have a gap fill, and then, of course, you got another gap fill up here and up there. So you got a lot of resistance coming up, so let's keep an eye on that. You also have this trend line here. We could probably pull this. I don't know what the exact thing is, but you probably pull that in here. So I guess if it comes up to the 200 MA around 120 or so, then that's the area. If you look at the weekly, weekly, you got all the MAs here right around 120, 121, 118 area. I mean, if it could pop through this stuff, then we're definitely going right to this area here, 125, 126. So we got to watch how it reacts once it starts hitting the turbulence here. And if it could pop through it or they gap it up one day on a mean down day or something, we'll watch for that. Usually a lot of resistance like this, they'll gap it over it and go. So let's keep an eye on that. If it starts getting around the 118, the 120, I might chisel some off of my long. We'll have to see how this thing reacts here. So I would love to have, chisel some off, have it pull back, do it again, and then have it take off. But, one day at a time on this stuff, guys, that's all we can really do. All right, guys. Hey, thanks for watching my videos. Go to my website, StockBookie.com. Sign up for a free membership. I'm going to start doing emails, live sessions, more videos. And to get some of this stuff, you have to be a member, guys. It's free. Why wouldn't you do it? Again, StockBookie.com. Follow me on StockTwits, Twitter. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. All right, guys. Have a great weekend. A great Friday night. Take care. God bless. See you on the charts.